All right, so obviously you start out by drawing a circle, then we want to take that circle and turn it into a sphere. You have to make sure you understand where your light source is. For hatching, all you're doing is following the shape of the form and putting little lines, just going usually in one direction, that will enhance the shape and make it look like it's rounded. The goal here is to know that the darkest places are farthest away from the light, although the edge might be a little bit reflected. With scumbling, you're just making like wiggly squiggly lines, and it's the same thing. Know where your light source is. Stippling just means putting lots of dots. This one is great if you are using ink like a Sharpie or a pen and ink drawing. The dots get farther apart and smaller in the lighter areas and closer together in the areas that you want more of a shadow. Although this one's a little bit time consuming, it can look really cool. The object or sphere in this case always casts a shadow that is opposite of the light source. So you can see where I'm putting shadows cast by the objects. Okay, cross hatching is very similar to hatching. It's just that it goes in two different directions. So if you think about the cross contours of the form, this wraps around the sphere, going both horizontally and vertically around the sphere. Again, darkening in some areas by putting the lines closer together and farther apart to let them seem lighter. And then, you know, your pencil pressure is part of shading too. You push harder, you get a darker tone. You press lighter, you get a lighter tone. So, you know, if you're using a standard 2B pencil, you can still get pretty dark by just pushing hard. And then if you want to smooth it all out, you can use a paper towel or a blending stump and kind of go in and blend out. This one's overused a lot though. And then the other thing that you can do here is go back in with your eraser, and it can give you some nice highlights, particularly in the reflected light areas that wrap back around the shape. And then we're going to mix different kinds of shading in this one. So I might start with pencil pressure and, you know, pushing harder to get my dark forms, my dark shadows, core shadows, things like that. And then use the eraser to get those highlights back in. I might go in and do a little bit more with the pencil pressure. I might do some hatching or cross hatching. I might even put in some scumbling in some areas. Just to kind of give it a little bit more texture and vary the way the shading looks on the form. So we had hatching, scumbling, stippling, cross hatching, blending, and then a mix of all the different kinds of shading. Make sure you always add in a cast shadow and think about where that falls. You can use any of these kinds of shading on any kind of form. Here I'm kind of doing a mixed shaded cube. So once you've kind of practiced doing all the different kinds of shading, you're going to figure out which one feels most natural and comfortable for you. Unless you're directed to use a certain kind of shading, obviously whatever feels natural to you is the right thing to do. So good luck!